Surprise! I'm live streaming. We are going to wing it because this is the first time I've attempted this, and we will go ahead and give it a shot, see how it goes. If I can get comfortable with this, I'd really like to do a live stream once per week. But Tuesdays seem to be the best day. Mondays are crazy, and Tuesday is the first day that generally the house is quiet. I can't guarantee no interruptions, but we will give it our best. So feel free to hop in chat and ask any questions you might have. I know there will be fewer people since this is brand new for everybody, and so we will. I'll give everyone some better warning next time. But anyway, we're just going to hop in and talk about Bitcoin for a little bit and the altcoin market, and then we'll see what happens next. Here we go. All right. So, first of all, looks like Bitcoin has got 3 days of complete indecision. So this is a situation we've got our declining resistance established. We have a pretty solid resistance here, and right now we are hovering exactly flat. So wow, looks like we got some people online already, so that's pretty cool. This is good, but looks like this line here is becoming our this is our pivot point. So where our first correction happened, we're finally looking right at the bottom of this. We're in this indecision mode. So we won't know what happens until we break through the upper side or the bottom side. The bottom side is probably our 50-day moving average. So this would end our yellow, or excuse me, our green zone. So let's take a quick look at the total market. Right now, we are, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and hide this. So the total market cap of all altcoins is hovering in between this range. So we've gone up a little bit, but we're still kind of hovering right in this range. And so we're kind of waiting for a breakout either side. The reason Bitcoin dominance went up was because of Ethereum having a little bit better of a day. So Ethereum has been trucking along. After our rejection off of the 200-week, we pulled back, and now we're kind of consolidating again. So if tomorrow we have another attempt, we can do the same blowout that we had right here. But that causes Bitcoin dominance to drop. The other's dominance is really what lets the rest of the coins know, or lets us know kind of where we're headed. So I knew we would probably find some resistance on this 50-week moving average, but so far so good. Okay, so that is pretty much the basics of what's happening today. So if you guys have questions or anything, please put it in the chat. So yeah, so thank you for Conspiracy. Thanks for the congrats on the humble news and all of that. So that's pretty cool. It's a fun company and a really cool group. Let's take a look at Aave since it's the first request. I always look at everything in Bitcoin. So let me just pull it up here. So Aave is a fairly, let me check. Let's see if there's a little more history on Binance. Yeah, all right, so Bittrex didn't work quite so hot. Okay, so Aave used to be Lend, and just getting kind of a macro perspective on what it is, we had a wild pump like new coins do, and then we've sold off for like 2 years, when we finally exited the red zone, it was the buy of a century. So yeah, there's no joke. There are so many coins that are exiting the red zone, and this is the best time to buy. It just absolutely is. Even if it continues down, we're always watching for exits of red zones. But yeah, so the buy would have been at like 3,700 satoshis, and we are heading up. Since we've surpassed our all-time high against Bitcoin, there's kind of blue sky ahead of us. So what we are going to be watching for here is if we get a couple of days that are 20% or more in a row. Once we get really, really high, that's when we're going to be looking for exits. If we find a day that's 100% gain or more, we're always going to exit that. And then the other thing that we want to watch for are any kind of candles that start signaling a top, like anything with a long wick on top, something like that. Don't be afraid to take profits. So let's take a look here. So Raven is another one that we should look at. And Raven's one I entered not long ago. I like Raven. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so here's Raven. And with Raven, we finally had a nice kind of flattening, kind of bottoming area. We've been selling off for quite a while. Let's see, the last time we were in a solid zone. Yeah, so when we exited when we went from green to yellow to red, our price was 484 satoshis. We are essentially a tenth of that right now. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the upside is pretty significant. And right now, we've been in a red zone for like 5 months, and we haven't braked it. We haven't cracked through it. So we've attempted back in November, and now we're finally trying again. And the cool thing about this, which makes it such a good setup, is that every coin has a cycle, right? So every coin has its ups and downs, and as you go down, you finally have an up, and as you have an up, you finally have a down. Well, if the down is hugging the 50-day moving average, then when we finally have our swing up, we will most likely exit the red zone. So this is really prime. I'm watching this closely. I entered because we had established such a nice round bottom, and once we started popping up, that's when I took my entry point. So I got in, I think, at 49 satoshis, which we're almost there again. But we'll see how it goes. This might take a while, or it might happen tomorrow. So it's a pretty good try here. All right, let's take a look at a few more. So, can you enter Raven coin? Anyone can enter any coin. Yeah, you would just, as long as you have an exchange. My favorite exchange is Bittrex, and I have a link in the description in case that's something you guys like. Is it good to just hold Aave? You can just hold anything you like. From just a trading and educational standpoint, I'm always looking for these moves. So if something gets toppy and starts declining, as a trader, I'm happy to exit. So I will take profits, and I may not take profits 100%. So I might just take a portion. Usually I'll only take a quarter of my position out whenever I've gotten to a nice high point. So let's take a look. Let's see what other coins we're doing. The indicator available on TradingView. Nope, everything's still available. Look in the description of this video, and you can see the couple of indicators that I've put out there that are available. But on Humble, I'll be hosting a lot of indicators that I've done a lot of back testing on that I've found to be pretty successful, and they are very similar to the one that I use personally, and I've used it for a year straight, so it's been pretty cool. All right, so let's see the coin. Let's go to the next one, DCR, Decred. That coin has been looking amazing. Look at this. Okay, I gotta zoom out. So the goal is to try to capture these when they exit the red zone. Sometimes you can get a false alarm where you exit and then you retreat, but I just wait for the next red zone. You know, these are the best times to enter. So so this particular coin, let me see. Let me actually look. DCR. In my personal trading, let's see. I entered this coin at 155. Let's see where that would have been. So it wasn't like the best entry. Is that right? Oh, I know why. So I entered down here, and then when we started flattening and we started leveling off, I went ahead and took profits until we started showing a little bit more momentum. So this was actually 2 trades for me. So I entered here and exited right in the middle of this, and then retook my position once we closed above this 50-week moving average. So my entrance was at 155 for my more recent trade. But yeah, I mean, we've got a golden cross here, and now with yesterday being such an awesome day, we popped up really hard, and then today's been kind of a wild swinging day, but we found support off of the 50-day and the 50-week moving averages. So the cool thing about this is when the 100-day moving average crosses above the 200, we will be in a green zone, because our 50 will be on top of our 100, which is on top of the 200, and both the 100 and 50 are in are sloping upwards. So we love green zones, and we want them to last as long as possible. But so if we can just stay above this 50 and ride this green zone, there's gonna be some good upside. And Decred has come down so far for so long. Our last exit of the green zone was way up in like 0.0118 Bitcoin. Like these numbers are just so gigantic, and we're definitely like trading at a tenth of that. So double and triple are way on the table, which is very, very, very cool. All right, let's see what we've got. What else are people curious about? So people are wondering about XRP. So I'll take a look. I would be a little hesitant to enter an XRP trade because of all of the, there's just no liquidity. I'm not sure where people are still trading it since it's been delisted almost off of everything. Let's see. I'll just pull it up on Binance and see. Yeah, it might still be trading there. I'm not sure. But yeah, look how we've just, once that news came out, it's just plummeted. If it was actively traded and was highly liquid, this is showing an increase in support down here. But because we're so low compared to our averages, we need to wait for our averages to come down. I would not be buying this yet. If I was actively trading it, we do have, you know, some consolidation happening, but after a drop like this, we need to see a lot more movement. I wouldn't be entering this until our 50 is like right here. So I'd be quite a bit more patient on this one for sure. All right, so let's see. So where do you trade altcoins? Go ahead and look in the link the description down below, most countries can trade on Bittrex, and that's my favorite exchange. That's where I get most of the coins that I'm actively trading. So those ones here. Okay, all right, let's look at a couple more. I like Edwin's suggestions. So BCH is one that has just seen so much downside. The last time we exited the green zone was 0.039 Bitcoin, and we are almost a third, but definitely half of that. And we're also trading at our all-time lows. Let me make this smaller here. So if I go to weekly, our original low was at 0.023, and when we broke below that, found it as resistance, we've been selling off pretty good. But these 2 weeks where we had these really long wicks, they have helped us establish a pretty significant bottom. And so this is definitely going to slow our momentum. It's funny how just the same way when we're exiting coins, how if a coin starts getting, we start going up gradually and then it gets steeper and steeper and then we have a blow off top with a long candle. The same thing happens on the bottom side. So when things are flattening and then they're getting steeper and they're getting steeper and they're heading down and then suddenly we have kind of a blow off bottom, that can usually create our low. So with this sort of in the books, as long as we stay away from this area, this is a beautiful entry because our risk reward is spectacular down in these ranges. And as you can see on the daily, you can see that we are, our red zone is breaking up. It'd be really nice to see the slope of the 50 start flattening and curving upwards, but it's starting to break up. The only thing that is going against us on Bitcoin Cash is this situation. Look at this problem. Well, there's no resistance over here. So it kind of, our support really started, well, maybe it's here. No, it could be here. So this is sort of our problem. This isn't really exact. It's lower because of all these wicks that we've seen. But this is definitely a squeeze. I don't know how this will play out. The target for something like this is exactly our bottom. So if we break out to the downside, we could get down in this range, which would not be good. So this one's kind of a question mark. If we could get above this 50 and have a couple of good days where we break out the top and start curving our 50 up or at least flat, I'd feel a lot better about it. I'm not afraid to take a position down here though, and so I have, but we'll kind of see how it plays out. I don't know if I'd recommend it to my grandma or anything. Not quite yet. We'll have to make sure we get some better support. Let's see. We'll do a couple more, and then I don't want to go for too long. But let's take a look at Ethereum Classic. Let's see here. Yeah, so Ethereum Classic is doing exactly the same thing, where we have, and we talked about it in pretty good detail, how we've been just, we can't even get a 1 day break of the red zone. We've just been doing that. But same with whatever the coin was that we started with, where we have these kind of cycles, and now our little downswing is just hugging the 50. That means our next upswing is going to break the 50, and then we'll be in good shape. We are starting to curve down, but I don't know. I just feel like this is it's a decent percent away. I'll use this. Our gain from the absolute bottom is 35%. So we have a pretty decent percent move. The bigger this move is, the more difficult it is to get there. So if we've increased 35% and we're here, then we have a better chance of finding a bottom that's higher than these lows. So we technically have a low here. We also have a low here. This is not a great support, but this technically is a swing low also. So we have a couple of increasing swing lows. And so we could swing low all the way down to 20,000 Satoshis and still establish another higher low. So with this structure, I think we're in for it. And there's so much like pending, like the pot's just getting really hot, and this thing's gonna blow once we actually close above the 50. This line is just so big. So anyway, I'll do a couple more since we got a couple other people that just hopped on. A couple people have asked for one, I think, so let's take a look at that. I think I left it in my, here we go. Let's see what's going on with one. So one I know is one that has come down a lot. Yeah, I think when we started off there was, so this is why I don't trade new coins. Look at this thing. This is how you get killed. I don't like to trade these new coins because where's the right entrance for this? You don't know what the entrance is on day 1 or day 4 or day 5, and this makes you feel like it's going up forever. But even if you waited for it to cool off for a couple of months, this would have been a terrible place to enter. This would have been this would have been a total fake out. And it's not until you start getting down into the flattening that you even have a chance to even get a return. And then once the 50-week or 50-day moving average showed up, the first thing that happened is we got rejected off of it. So it's been a rough coin. We finally got rejected here, but look at this. See, this is what I'm talking about. When we have our swing low, we're swinging up and we're hugging the 50, then our next move up is our exit. So this is what I'm expecting to happen on Ethereum Classic and on some of those others. But yeah, so anyway, here we started to see these really kind of blow off top days. But yeah, it's a little hard to say like where this exit would have been back then. But now that it's older, we have our 200-day moving average in place, and we've had plenty of time for a sell-off. Now we're kind of into the next cycle. So after the last one ended back in September, we've had a real solid retreat. We haven't even touched the 50 until all the way in here into the red zone. But now, look at this. We're exiting the red zone. We're near all-time lows. The risk reward is really beautiful. If I was trading this, I would already be long. I would have entered at least around here. But so by now, the coin is over a year old. We definitely know a little bit about the range that this thing trades in. I wouldn't be afraid to take a position in this. Depending on liquidity, it would be probably a smaller position, but we are definitely holding above the 50. And we do this long enough, and our 50 is going to start flattening out and curving upwards. And I'd say it's a pretty decent trade. We're going to find a little resistance right here. So we're kind of doing the struggle as we speak. But yeah, our first day where we close about in 26 or 27 will also be above the 100. That will be pretty good confirmation that this coin's ready to go. So, well, this is kind of fun. Maybe we should do this more often. We'll try to do it once a week. Normally I'm looking through for kind of specific coins that are doing something, but it's also fun to see like what you guys are interested in, what you want to have a look at. I'll do one last coin, and it will be, we will do Zilliqa. Zilliqa has been a very hard coin to trade now that we're down here. So the challenge with Zilliqa is that from our low to our major pivot point, so this pivot point is essentially our first support, and then it became this was sort of it was outside of our boundary, but it definitely came back into play all the way through here, and now it's back into play. So this is a pretty huge pivot point that we are dealing with. And the problem is that this low to the pivot point and this pivot point to our high, we're a little upside down on our momentum. This high was so high that our distance between the high and our pivot point is larger than the support. So normally this would be a recipe for a sell-off, because we've essentially hit every target we've been trying to hit. So there's a target right here between this point to this high, and then the target would have been the exact same here, and we did it. Like we met the requirements for this move, our breakout, and our next move. So now we're a little bit in no man's land, but we're a little upside down on our momentum. So yeah, it was when we have a couple of days where we were just really rocking, that's where we're getting nervous. But by this day, it's hard to say, when you get in or when you get out. If we can get back above the 50, then we could have another run, just like what Theta is doing, because Theta is doing the same thing. Like Theta managed to, well, they've been above the 50 the entire time, so I guess that is a different story. But yeah, we're struggling with the 50. If we get rejected off the 50, it's going to take a while before we can recover from this. These large pumps are exciting in the moment, but they can really wreck you for months and months. So that, I don't know, it's a tough one. Somebody was asking me about it, and I was like, well, if you didn't exit in this wild volatile range, you're going to look for a relief rally and try to exit. So I'd be exiting here if it was me, but you guys obviously can do what you want to do. It's probably going to have to find more footing, and it'll be probably 6 months before that happens. So anyway, man, it's cool to see everybody on chat. It's nice to do this a little bit more. We'll try to do this every Tuesday or so, and I'll try to get a stopwatch on so I don't just ramble on and on, but I could definitely talk about this for a long time. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your day, and next time I'll give everyone a little more warning. I was figuring out new software and trying to figure it all out today, but anyway, we'll talk to you